Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It's Mucking Fun Day. Have you had a good weekend, or was your weekend disappointing? Well, we're here to tell you more of this disappointing stuff that's been going on over the weekend. Oh, there's some good news for some people. So let's get started with the show. This is Before Coffee, the father and daughter comprehensive news of Planet Earth podcast, where we look up the stories 10 to 15 minutes before we start the show, and we haven't had any caffeine. So it's Before Coffee for us. It's Get That Coffee for you. Let's read out these headlines for today's show. Today on Before Coffee, Starmer tells of common ground with Italy's Meloni after meeting.
And Maryland governor launches initiatives to support federal workers with 130,000 job openings.
France's Emmanuel Macron wants to talk about European nuclear shield. Zelensky says it will not be simple to replace him as a Ukraine leader.
And Gene Hackman's toxicology reports say he did not die from carbon monoxide.
Oscars 2025, the triumph of Anora.
And it's National Soup It Forward Day. That's right, Soup It Forward. And here on Before Coffee, where we've upped our game once again. We've new and improved show. We've upped our game, so up yours on March 3rd. 2025 on Before Coffee.
Yeah, we've upped our game by adding like one more thing to the segue wheel, I believe, is what we've done. Yeah, it's a huge improvement.
Yeah, big deal. We've got 9 things on the wheel now. 9!
Yeah, so we're still going to roll. Reminds me of a song at least 20 more times.
All right.
Oh, actually, I think you sent me the wrong link for the wheel.
Right.
I think you just sent me the link for the website instead of the wheel. Yeah.
Okay. I'll try it again, I guess.
Well, we'll just roll for now. We'll just roll this. We'll just roll this one for now.
Let's roll this one first. Roll. I'll work on it while you're reading the story. Okay.
All right. Let's get that. I don't know why all my things are weird now. Jelly beans. Let's roll those jelly beans.
Okay. So we're spinning the wheel.
Limerick.
Really?
Yeah, limerick.
Okay. Let me get a pencil. All right.
Get a pencil. Okay. For my first news story, we're going to talk about going nuclear, specifically Europe. Europe is actually France, even specifically France. France has always had the nuclear option available to them because they have the largest amount of nuclear power in Europe, or at least they provide it to a lot of people. And this time they're thinking about taking that the next step. This is from Der Spiegel. French President Emmanuel Macron wants to talk to his partners in Europe about a European nuclear shield. We have a shield, they don't, Macron told the newspaper Le Parisien. The likely future German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, CDU, has already announced that he wanted to negotiate a nuclear deterrent with nuclear powers France and Great Britain. So even though Merz told the Frankfurter Allgemeine Sonntagszeitung that he wanted to negotiate a European system of nuclear deterrence with France, Great Britain, and other allies. Such cooperation has already been discussed in the past. For example, an attack on Germany would also activate France's nuclear protection. The situation has now changed again. That is why we should think about an issue together again, said the CDU leader. Significantly fewer warheads are in the USA and Russia. The scandal between convicted felon Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in the White House last Friday caused dismay among European states. At a summit in London on Sunday, the European heads of the state and government wanted to regain the initiative in the negotiations on a ceasefire in Ukraine and discuss strategies for future European defense without U.S. support. Some experts believe that the implementation of a European nuclear shield, as proposed by Macron, would be difficult. Norman Dombey, a nuclear physicist at the British University of Sussex, points out that British nuclear weapons in particular are integrated into the U.S. armed forces. Both the missiles and the warheads depend on U.S. and U.S. designs, says Dombey. Of course, a lot of European countries do have nuclear warheads, but they are loaned to them by the United States. So the U.S. still has control over whether or not those warheads are unleashed or armed or anything like that. They're mostly there as, yes, already a deterrent. You can't attack. I think the Netherlands has 3, France has some as well. And a lot of these, yes, are loaned from the U.S. as part of a nuclear deal so that the U.S. didn't have all of the nukes in the world. They gave them to Europe. Speaking of the drama between Trump and Zelensky will not be replaced so easily, according to him. U.S. Republicans had suggested he may have to resign after his little, I don't know what to call that. I guess they were doing like a play, except they didn't tell Zelensky he was also part of the play. Because that's what it was. It was just like a very dramatic improvisation right there with a leader of a country, which turned him during a contentious Oval Office meeting about the war with Russia on Friday, which was, what was that? The 28th of February, right? If they replace me, given that's what's going on, given the support, simply replacing me will not be simple, Zelensky told the British media. It is not enough just to hold an election. You did also not let me run. This will be a bit more difficult. Looks like you have to negotiate with me, he added. Yeah, he's like, okay, fine, I resign. Anyways, I'm here again, guys. Oh yeah, let's put them back in. And I said that I'm exchanging for NATO. Then I fulfilled my mission. The unprecedented public spat at the Oval Office resulted in Zelensky leaving the White House without the anticipated signing of a preliminary pact on sharing Ukraine mineral rights, which now I think also France or the UK is also looking to offer to buy. While European leaders rallied around Ukraine, Republican officials appeared on Sunday on news programs questioning whether any deal could be reached with Russia so long as Zelensky remains. Don't make any deals with Russia. How about that? Just an idea. We need a leader that can deal with us, eventually deal with the Russians and end the war, National Security Advisor Mike Waltz told CNN. I think he dealt with them very well as an actor, because he was an actor, actually, before becoming a president of Ukraine. He did pretty well of being like the, what is it called? The guy who just doesn't get any of the jokes, I forget the word for it. But he was just like the straight man. He was a great straight man in that, whatever that was, that acting piece. It looked like a freaking show was going on, like I was watching a reality TV show. And if it becomes apparent that President Zelensky, their personal motivation or political motivations are divergent from any of the fighting this country, then I think we have a real issue. I don't think he wants to end the fighting. He wants to get Russia out of his country. That's his goal. His goal is to make Russia leave his country. What's the fastest way to peace? If the fastest way to peace was his goal, he would have surrendered, ages ago. Which he's not doing, because that's not what Ukraine wants either. Senior Democrats have angrily pushed back since the debacle on the 28th, saying Trump has become dangerously close to an all-out embrace of Russia. He's been doing that for years. Zelensky has been calling for Ukraine to be given NATO membership as part of any deal to end the war, but the Washington-led alliance has been reluctant to make a pledge. Trump said in February that Ukraine can forget about joining NATO in any settlement, explaining, I think that's probably the reason the whole thing started. Yeah, he said, hey, Russia, can you invade us and kill people and bomb us so that we can join NATO? It's all part of their conspiracy. Russia cited potential Ukrainian membership in NATO as a reason for its invasion 3 years ago. But, you're never going to join NATO. If the threat was, if you join NATO, we'll invade you, and then they did it, then, yeah, joining NATO is the only solution, I think, at this point, because the invasion, Russia's invasion of Ukraine has not stopped them from wanting to join NATO, right? It's only increased their want to join NATO. So the reason for the invasion is pointless at this point. 3 years in, you haven't stopped anything. Anyways, that's my stories. I hope you have a good limerick for me from that.
Yikes. Well, I guess I'll read my limerick now. Oop, got my pencil. All right, limerick time. How's my lighting? Lighting's still good? Do you think it's good? Okay.
Yeah, you're fine. I can see you.
Okay. As we spiral through... starting over. As we spiral through the nuclear age, fascism and xenophobia are all the rage. While Putin grabs land and complicit Pauls take no stand, the ridiculousness is impossible to gauge. Anyway. Spin the
we live
wheel.
in the society. Indeed.
That's right. Impossible to set a calibration for what is going wrong because we are in the age of stupid, everybody. The age of stupid has taken hold, and it really ain't letting go. Okay, so spin the wheel so we can comment on your...
We'll spin the wheel.
I don't need my glasses for this. I just need them right.
All right, I got to make a haiku. It's been a while since we got haiku.
All right, Governor Wes Moore. This is from WBAL.com. Katrina Hine, who is the WBAL News Radio Digital Content Manager. So this is News Radio story. Governor Wes Moore launches initiatives to support federal workers with 130,000 new job openings, or not non-job openings, just openings that are existing already. That, hey, we have more jobs than people in this country because Joe Biden's economy was such a successful economy. People ran out of workers before they ran out of jobs. Anyway, and of course, a large portion of the people who were laid off by this butchery live in Maryland, or very close to Maryland, so here we are. On Friday, Governor Wes Moore announced several initiatives aimed at aiding Maryland residents affected by federal worker layoffs and changes in federal funding. Recognizing federal employees as assets to the community, more emphasis... Oops. Bumping my mic and hitting the scroll. Go to it. Recognizing federal employees are assets to the community, more emphasized their invaluable expertise and commitment, stating they are our friends and our neighbors, public servants who raised their hand to serve our country, and we are committed to making it possible for them to stay in Maryland. As part of the Moore-Miller administration's efforts, the Maryland Public Servants Resource website has been expanded. New tools include the Live Work Maryland Job Search, highlighting nearly 130,000 job openings, and a United Benefits Screener for accessible support. Resources for veterans, who comprise about 15% of federal workers in Maryland, are also included. Another major initiative is recruitment of federal workers for state jobs, starting with the virtual session Joining Team Maryland on March 7th. Several job fairs have been organized. Prince George County Federal Employee Career Transition and Resource Fair on March 12th. Rebuilding Careers Job Fair on March 18th, and others through March. The governor also signed memorandums directing Maryland agencies to refine hiring practices for transitioning federal workers. The Maryland Department of Transportation will assist federal workers in transitioning their skills to state roles, and the Department of Budget and Management is expanding its hiring processes. Furthermore, the Maryland State Department of Education and the Higher Education Committee will guide federal workers exploring teaching careers, addressing teacher shortages. Teacher shortages and unemployed workers seems like a great match. Finally, an expanded resource to teach. Finally, a expanded resource page on teach.maryland.gov offers pathways to certification, enhancing Moore's initiatives from the Educator Shortage Act to Excellence in Maryland Public Schools Act. We will confront crisis with courage, and we will win. Moore remarked before introducing an Army veteran who was fired by email this past President's Day weekend. This is not just a professional blow, but a personal one. I was dismissed, the veteran said. My work directly contributed to the safety of this nation's infrastructure. My family has watched me navigate this storm. The process has been cruel and it has been heartless. I refuse to let this define me. To those facing similar changes, keep fighting, speak truth, and hold these systems accountable. I stand firmly in my commitment to justice. I took an oath to protect this country against all enemies, foreign and domestic. While my uniform may have changed, my mission remains the same. We can restore the trust where it is broke. Justice will always prevail. And let's see. There is a list of job fairs. Maybe I'll just run through them real quick. Prince George's County Federal Employee Career. Let's see. That would be March 12th. Prince George's County is having a job fair. Rebuilding Careers Job Fair event March 18th in various places around Maryland. Places like Frederick, Jefferson Pike, so forth. Federal Career Hiring Transition event on March 20th. That is in several centers around Maryland. March 26th, the Workforce Montgomery Quarterly Career and Resource Fair. So a lot of job fairs all over the state of Maryland for the month of March. And let's have a haiku about this.
Okay. My haiku is not very explicit because it's just a haiku, but layoffs loom for the feds. Governor of Maryland rebuilds careers for good. There you go.
Okay.
There's a haiku.
Okay. Do I clap? Okay, let me just clap here.
You're just gonna clap? Okay.
I'm gonna find my. I'm totally off the wrong screen.
Well, while you find that, let's roll the wheel.
Sorry. Mondays.
It's Monday.
Mucking Fun Day. Okay. Okay, what's my
I've
wheel
got a
say?
non sequitur from you.
All right, that's...
Maybe you can find the link to the wheel, the updated wheel, while I read my long story here. Okay. We've got news coming out of the meeting that Europe had concerning Ukraine, in which Starmer, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, has found common ground with Italy's Meloni. This is by Ted Hennessy on The Independent. Sir Keir Starmer said there is a huge amount of common ground between him and Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni after they met at Downing Street. The UK Prime Minister welcomed Ms. Meloni for a bilateral meeting on Sunday before the summit of political leaders in London focused on Ukraine and wider European security. Sir Keir, speaking at a press conference in Lancaster House, joked that they had the first bilateral brunch in the history of British-Italian relations. He went on, "We get on personally very well, and she is very clever. I don't want to speak for her, but I think her position is well known, that Europe and the US have to stand together and that bond must always be strong. So there's a huge amount of common ground between the way I see this and the way Giorgia sees this, particularly that the view is important for security defense of Italy, Europe, and the United Kingdom, that we work as we've always worked closely aligned with the United States." Speaking earlier in Downing Street, Ms. Meloni said that in a precious moment, it is very important to talk to each other, to coordinate. She told Sir Keir, "We are all very committed about the goal that we want to achieve, which is just a lasting peace in Ukraine, and I think it is very, very important that we avoid the risk of the West divide. I think on this that the UK and Italy can play an important role in bridge building, let's say. You know, I've been always proposing a meeting between the US and European leaders. We decide ourselves that will make us all weaker." Number 10 said that during the meeting, the two leaders discussed tackling migration as well as the conflict in Ukraine. Yeah, let's get rid of those immigrants. Woohoo, I'm so glad they agree on just dispersing humans across the planet, but not here. Don't come here. A Downing Street spokesperson said leaders agreed on the importance of transatlantic alliances and confronting shared challenges. They went on, they had a warm, constructive discussion, agreeing the strength of UK-Italy relationship is as vital now as it's ever been. They reaffirmed the support for Ukraine, agreeing that the UK and Italy will stand with them for as long as it takes. Well, it's good to know that Italy isn't a puppet state of Russia. They're a puppet state of somebody else. I don't know if they're a puppet state. They're just anti-immigration, and I despise them for that alone, I guess. Speaking of the meeting they had in, what do they even have it actually? The meeting between the European leaders of Germany, Denmark, Italy, the Netherlands, Norway, Poland, Spain, Canada, Finland, Sweden, the Czech Republic, and Romania attended the summit, which was in the Lancaster House. So yes, they met in the UK, the 200-year-old mansion near Buckingham Palace. This is by Brian Maley and Emma Burrows on the AP News. Starmer ran the 18 fellow politicians that they need to do heavy lifting for their own security in the coming days for U.S. backing the Ukraine appeared to be in jeopardy after the reality show we had everyone watched in Washington. The meeting had been overshadowed by the extraordinary rebuke of Zelensky. The British Prime Minister said he worked with France and Ukraine on a plan to end the war and that the group of leaders, mostly from Europe, had agreed on 4 things. Steps towards peace would include keeping aid flowing to Kyiv and continuing economic pressure on Russia in order to strengthen Ukraine's position, ensuring that the Ukrainian government is at the negotiating table, that any peace agreement guarantees respect for its sovereignty and security, continuing to supply arms to Kyiv in order to deter future invasions. Europe has been on the edge. Visiting within 12 hours, Starmer returned to Washington. Peace talks appear to have collapsed. During Sunday's press conference, Starmer rejected the suggestion that the U.S. was no longer a reliable ally. Starmer, of course, does not trust Putin, and he does trust Trump, which is bizarre. Italian Prime Minister Meloni said she regretted what happened in Washington. I mean, everyone regrets it because it's embarrassing to even think that happened. Like, I feel like I was watching a reality show. This is an SNL skit. Starmer used broad terms to describe the challenge ahead. He said Europe was at a crossroads in history and it did act to me a once-in-a-generation moment. European Commissioner President von der Leyen emerged from the meeting, said she would be present at a plan to rearm Europe and strengthen the bloc's security after a long period of underinvestment. As for the future of Ukraine, von der Leyen says the country needs security guarantees. That people actually back up, because they had security guarantees from the UK when this originally happened, and the UK didn't do anything because they were tied up in NATO and also UN and EU things, so they couldn't do anything, but they technically had security guarantees when this started.
Security guarantees for the United States.
Yeah. Like I said, the problem isn't that they needed them. We need people to actually guarantee their guarantees. Yeah. We need to put Ukraine in the position of some strengths, though it has means to strengthen and protect itself, von der Leyen said. In essence, it's about turning Ukraine into a steel porcupine that is impossible for potential invaders to digest. Last week, Starmer pledged to increase military spending to 2.5% of gross domestic product by 2027. Other European nations could follow suit. Czech Prime Minister Petr Fiala, my camera just died, said that European faces historic tests and has to take care of itself. He said European countries must increase their spending on arms to reach at least 3% of GDP. If we don't increase our efforts quickly enough and let the aggressor dictate his terms, we will not end well. Starmer has pledged to provide more weapons to defend Ukraine, announcing that the UK will use its £1.6 billion, or $2 billion in export finance to supply 5,000 air defense missiles. So there's your news, more Ukraine news, more meetings of people talking to each other and hopefully getting some stuff done, as everyone in Europe who is not in politics right now is impatiently waiting for people to do stuff. They're doing stuff, but not enough, I think, is the common man's opinion. It's like, just do more and keep doing more. Because if you let Ukraine be lost, then we're all lost eventually. In the next 50 years or something.
Right. Well, it's not a total non sequitur, but do you know that in 1994, the President of the United States, George Herbert Walker Bush, the first George Bush, talked Ukraine into giving up their nukes.
Yep.
Right? They said, "We will protect you." Well, turns out he was lying.
The UK was also signed that treaty, by the way. So that's the treaty I'm talking about. Ukraine signed a treaty. We will give up our nukes, and they gave Other signers on that treaty was also the United Kingdom, and the United Kingdom did not, and they pulled that treaty
Right
as
on.
well. They pulled that treaty as well when the invasion happened. Everyone was like, "What about that treaty you guys signed, UK?" And the UK were like, that doesn't apply here. We're not gonna do anything."
The non sequitur is don't trust Whitey. Anyway, so
Trust Whitey.
okay, so
Let's
spin the
roll
wheel. The new wheel. Got the new wheel.
You got the new wheel. Okay, let me slot this new wheel in. Yeah, here we go. This is the correct. Got our jelly beans here.
All right. Give her a spin.
All right, let's give her a spin. And of course, we got the personal story. So let's see if I have a personal story.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well this is not, I don't know which personal stories you're going to have about Gene Hackman and his wife, but here we go. This is a short story, as we're pressed for time all of a sudden. Gene Hackman, wife tests negative for carbon monoxide, and pacemaker stopped on February 17th. So he'd been dead for a while when he was found.
Shit.
Yeah. This is from Variety.com, J. Kim Murphy. The deaths of Gene Hackman and his wife, Betsy Arakawa, remain under investigation. Santa Fe Sheriff Don Mendoza shared a press conference Friday afternoon. In a statement, Mendoza stated that both Hackman and Arakawa's bodies tested negative for carbon monoxide poisoning. The sheriff also disclosed that Hackman's pacemaker recorded its last event on February 17th, meaning that it is currently assumed that is the date the actor died. Mendoza said there remains uncertainty over the order of the couple's deaths. Final toxicology and autopsy reports remain pending, a process that Mendoza says could be a month or 3 months or longer. Can't read. Initial findings, the word individual is right under it, so I read that for some reason. Initial findings indicate that there was no external trauma to either individual. In their investigation, authorities collected 2 green cell phones, 2 bottles of medication, 1 over-the-counter Tylenol, a request for medical records, and a 2025 monthly planner for evidentiary purposes. The sheriff also stated that they have found no security inside or outside the residence that can be collected to determine a timeline. No security? Yo! Authorities will continue to conduct their interviews with the workers within the couple's gated community. They lived in Santa Fe with no security. Famous actor, just living in anonymity mostly, right?
I guess so. Maybe he's just like, he hasn't been in a thing for years, decades. So maybe he just, nobody knows who I am anymore.
Right, and they weren't even discovered until landscapers notified. The bodies of Hackman, we'll get into that in a second, because the bodies of Hackman, 95, and Arakawa, 65, were discovered along with one of the couple's dogs in their Santa Fe, New Mexico home on Wednesday afternoon. Authorities stated the foul play was not suspected. The death of the couple was later deemed suspicious by investigators in a search warrant affidavit. Hackman and Arakawa were found after a concerned maintenance worker contacted neighborhood security to perform a welfare check. Arakawa was discovered lying on the bathroom floor. A prescription pill bottle was open on the countertop with pills scattered nearby. Hackman was found in the mudroom adjacent to the kitchen. A German Shepherd was also discovered in a bathroom closet near Arakawa's body. 2 healthy dogs remained on the property, and County Animal Control Division was summoned to ensure their safety, per the sheriff's office. Authorities initially shared that Arakawa's body showed obvious signs of death, body decomposition, bloating in her face, and mummification in both hands and feet. Per the investigation, the fire department and gas company deemed that there was no obvious signs of a gas leak, which could have caused carbon monoxide poisoning. The toxicology findings announced Friday further confirmed that determination. Gene Hackman's daughter, Leslie Ann Hackman, spoke to the Daily Mail after her father's death and said he was in very good physical condition despite his old age. Despite his age, he was in very good physical condition, Leslie said about her father, adding that he did not have any major surgeries in the last few months before his death. Given that Hackman was 95 years old, Leslie shared he was aware that is not terribly shocking, but said that Kawa and her father had a wonderful marriage, adding, she took very, very good care of him and was always looking out for his health. So I'm appreciative to her for that, and I'm very saddened by her passing. That, again, was her stepmother.
And she was found in a bathroom closet?
She was found in a bathroom, and the dog was found locked in the closet. So I'm thinking that was his dog, and she might have given the dog prescription medication that she took an overdose on. So it looks like an overdose. He died from probably smacking his head when he fell, or who knows, but he might have just keeled over and died, and she couldn't handle it. I'm speculating here.
It does seem like it was like what is like an honor? What fancy word do they use that? An honor killing or whatever? Like she killed herself because the love of her life died. That's a thing people do in certain cultures. You know, they throw themselves upon the pyre at the death of their loved one.
Right. And the dog, I don't know, the dog had it coming. But hey, I don't know what to tell you. I didn't say that. I said I don't know that the dog had it coming.
Just the thing, like the idea. Yeah, no. I don't think the dog had it coming either. Hopefully not.
I don't get that one at all. Again, nobody's writing notes to explain it, which would have been helpful. But hey, maybe it was foul play, and it's just really clever.
Quite a setup if it was, yeah.
So
of course, that's not what's important about the whole thing.
Personal story.
Yeah, it really does help satiate the curiosity to find out what happens, but at the end of the day, it's not really about what happened, but the lives of the people that we lost. And that's why we've been, celebrating Gene Hackman's career, which is, ended ages ago, but he still left a large mark on people in the world. And I do have a personal story about death, suspicious deaths. Not really, but I guess it does remind me of how a lot of people are very interested in these kind of mysterious deaths. So,
right.
A lot of people love making Netflix documentaries about, the secret.
Oh, yeah.
If we finally find out all the hours series.
It'll be on 48 Hours, and what's the NBC show called? It'll be on these shows going, oh, what happened? Here's our timetable. Here's our timeline of what happened.
Think could have occurred. We've asked 15 different scientists what they think could have happened, and they're going to tell us.
Okay, spin our new and improved wheel. The new and improved wheel.
We wrote it. Alliteration. There we go. We got it.
Alliteration headline. Now the rules there, they have to be at least 3 words. You can't just do 2 words. You got to do at least 3. So
fine.
You can do as many as you want. You can do 100 if you want. But anyway, alliteration headline. What's your story?
My story is about the Oscars and Anora winning.
Oh, okay.
So do with that. We'll talk some more. We'll talk about all the viral things that happened as well. So let's.
Okay.
This is on Euronews, probably by David Marquand, because for some reason it doesn't show me yet. David Marquand wrote the article. Of course he did. Why did I even look? Sean Baker makes history as his Palme d'Or winning film Anora sweeps the board by winning 5 Oscars, including Best Film, Best Director, and Best Actress. Here's everything you can know about the award ceremony with all the winners. The 97th Academy Awards has delivered their verdict, and after an award season reach which has been truly chaotic and unpredictable, last year's Palme d'Or Anora reigns supreme. The film won a total of 5 Oscars out of 6 nominations. That's pretty good. Beat other favorites like The Brutalist, Wicked, and Emilia Perez to win Best Picture. And there was no white smoke for Conclave, which only went home with 1 Oscar, Best Adapted Screenplay. Director Sean Baker, known for his bold, independent filmmaking, carved his name into history books as he personally picked up 4 Oscars: Best Picture, Best Director, Best Original Screenplay, and Best Editing, becoming the first person ever to take home 4 Oscars in one night for the same film. Damn. The only person to ever win 4 Oscars in a single evening was Walt Disney in 1952, but his wins were for separate projects. Yeah, that's always Disney, right? I've got 50 films that are nominated this night, so I'll be winning somewhere. While accepting the award for Best Director, Baker let out his battle cry, encouraging people to support endangered independent cinemas and passionately expressing his love for the communal experience you don't get at home. Please try to watch movies in the cinema, said Baker. Amen. Anora also won Best Actress for Mikey Madison, who beat frontrunner Demi Moore, The Substance. This was Madison's first nomination, and the 25th-year-old becomes the 9th youngest woman to take the prize. Oh, well, she's... Why are you hating? In Anora, she plays the titular sex worker who falls for the son of a Russian billionaire who turns out to be a pussy. That's a quote. In her speech, she paid tribute to sex workers, echoing similar comments by Sean Baker, made in Cannes when he won the Palme d'Or. Host Conan O'Brien joked about the film's success throughout the night. I guess America was excited to see someone finally stand up to a powerful Russian. Ho-ho! In Euronews Culture's review of Anora, they said Madison, previously seen in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and Scream, is a revelation here. She owns every single scene, nailing the Brooklyn accent and having an absolute blast with the Spitfire insults. She gives a full-throttle performance that should propel her to an A-list stardom, and at very least, the Best Actress Oscar nomination. So, Euronews is like, we were right! Best Actor rightly went to Adrian Brody for his performance in Brady Corbet's American epic The Brutalist, in which he plays architect and Holocaust survivor Laszlo Toth. This is the second... You can't boo a Holocaust survivor film. You know that's going to win. This is the second Oscar for Brody after he won for his performance in, yet again, another Holocaust film, The Pianist, in 2002's Pianist. I'm just saying.
I'm booing the Academy
a movie about a Holocaust survivor. Wow, no one's going to win an Oscar for that. That would be the crazy thing to say. Becoming the time the youngest ever winner of the Best Actor at the age of 29. With this win, and by beating Timothée Chalamet, a complete unknown, which went home empty-handed, he remains the youngest performer ever to win Best Actor. Brody has become the first person to win the leading actor category with his first 2 nominations. On the more predictable side, I think that was pretty predictable. The Brutalist won Oscars. It was about Holocaust survivor. It's going to win Oscars. On the more predictable side of things...
Only the Best Actor, though, because Adrian Brody playing the same guy he played in The Pianist.
Yeah, Holocaust survivor.
Same role. Didn't have to change. Anyway, whatever.
As foretold, Kieran Culkin won Best Supporting Actor for his role in A Real Pain, an open and shut case, considering the actor has won the Gong All Awards seasons long, and Precursor Award for his role as a carefree but damaged Benji. See, that's why he won the award. He's been winning the awards this whole season, so... Right. He shared a funny anecdote about his wife in attendance, promised to give him a 4th child if he ever won an Oscar. Let's get cracking, he told her as he walked off stage. How cute.
Oh, boy.
Zoe Saldana won Best Supporting Actress for Emily Perez. She has swept the precursors for his role as singing, dancing lawyer who helped the Mexican cartel boss, Carla Sofia Gaston, transition to being a woman and disappear. No, unjust controversy would drag down Saldana, who gave a teary speech that earned her a standing ovation. I am a proud child of immigrant parents, she said, adding that she knows she will not be the last American of Dominican origin to win an Academy Award. The evening's outcome showed that Emily Perez and Netflix successfully shot themselves in the feet with a now infamous tweet scandal. It's not like you know what, guys? Let's post some anti-Muslim tweets. No, she did that ages before she was in the film. So they didn't do anything. It's like, what do they have to do? Scour everyone's social media to make sure they never said anything terrible at all before they hire them. Terrible. They didn't do anything. I'm just saying they didn't shoot themselves in the foot. Some person with no life went out there to find tweets so they can tell, this person's bad, actually, which has sadly dominated the awards campaign. Having emerged as head of the pack with 13 nominations this year, the narco trans musical leaves LA with only 2 Oscars. Hey, I don't see that as a complaint. Getting 2 Oscars is not a complaint. As predicted, Zoe
Right.
Saldana won Best Supporting Actress, and Clement Ducol and Camille's El Mal won the Best Original Song. Really? They beat Wicked in Best Original Song. That's crazy. Oh, I guess it's not original songs. Right.
Can we
Wicked
boo
had
that
songs
one?
for
Boo.
decades before the movie came out. It did not
Right.
win Best International Feature, went on to Brazil's I'm Still Here, Walter Salles' True Story, and moving de Cure about oppression in the 70s Brazil. Lost for Emily Perez shows the fall from grace of Jacques Audiard's film was complete, especially after Emily Perez won 7 Caesars 2 days ago. This follows a dubious pattern for Netflix films at the Oscars. Other recent films from the streaming juggernaut, which were heavily nominated, failed to follow through with many wins. See The Irishman, Mank, and The Power of the Dog. For better or worse, Emily Perez joins them. Elsewhere, Latvian film Flow rightly won Best Animated Feature, beating favorite The Wild Robot and the heavyweight Pixar production Inside Out 2. And it's a sequel, and it wasn't as good as the first one. It's catnip for the soul, as Flow was one of the favorite films of 2024 for Euronews Culture. Its win couldn't be more merited. Plus a historic win, as it's Latvia's first Oscar ever. Great job, Latvia. Your move, Estonia, quipped Conan. Why Estonia? Shouldn't it be Lithuania? Latvia and Lithuania are the more similar countries.
It's called a non sequitur.
Yeah, complete like Estonia. They don't even have any beef. Yeah. The Substance, one of the favorite films of last year for Euronews Culture, only won one award, Best Makeup and Hairstyling. It's worth noting that Coralie Fargay's film is the first body horror to be nominated for Best Picture, and only the 7th horror film overall after The Exorcist, The Silence of the Lambs, Jaws, The Sixth Sense, Black Swan, and Get Out. Was Black Swan a horror film? Sure, I guess. Psychological horror. Mm-hmm. The ceremony opened with a film montage culminating in We Heart LA sign acknowledging the widespread devastation of Los Angeles. And this was followed by Somewhere Over the Rainbow, sung by Ariana Grande, joined by Cynthia Erivo for a duet of Defying Gravity. Comedian Late Night Show host Conan O'Brien presented the Oscars for the first time and was introduced as hatching from Demi Moore's back in a spoof on The Substance. A nice touch. He wasted no time in getting a dig at Carlos Gascon's scandal, as well as a nod towards the AI scandal that attempted to plague The Brutalist. A joke about Amazon's takeover of James Bond franchise, announcing the new 007 is Amazon's senior executive Stephen Belsky. The new James Bond is the CEO. Conan did a great job, especially when it came to serious moment, dedication to unknown voices in cinemas, those devoted to a craft that has the power to unite. Shame about toe-curling naff bit featuring Adam Sandler, dressed in a hoodie and shorts toward the end of the opening monologue. Conan also ended his opening with a song and dance number featuring the pirouetting Deadpool and a Dune sandworm playing chopsticks on the piano. It wasn't great, but it was brief, so that's something. And there's all you need to know about the Oscars, and I guess who won. And interestingly, they didn't talk about how the winner of the Oscars for wardrobe was the first black man to win the Oscar. I think that's also a notable thing.
Actually, Conan brought it up. I saw that part.
Yeah, but I mean in this article, right? They didn't bring that up in the article that the first black man to win a wardrobe Oscar did not. They didn't mention that at all, but I wanted to mention it since they didn't mention it all. So, I forget their name. Right. I think it's probably in here somewhere. Let me find it real quick on this really long list of everyone who won everything. Cinematography, editing. Was it best production design? No, it wasn't that. Oh no, it doesesn't even tell me his name.
Costume design. Okay.
Yeah,
best costume.
It just says Wicked, but it doesn't say who won. It doesn't say his name. I wanted to name drop here. Paul Tazewell becomes the first black man to win Best Costume Design. Okay, so I wanted to say that, but there you go. That's all the news you need to know if you didn't watch the Oscars, because I never do, because I don't really care about them. I used to when I was a child, but now I'm just like, yeah, whatever.
About 8 hours.
Getting nominated is already winning, as they say. And
I was gonna watch it just to see if In Memoriam had Gene Hackman in it, because it's it might have been too late to edit before it went on the air. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe not. We'll see. room full of editors there, so I imagine they could do it. Anyway.
I don't know. Does it? I don't think it even mentions. I don't know if it even mentions the in memoriam here. Actually, it's just another thing.
They do it every time.
Oh, here we go. They featured Maggie Smith, Dick Pope, Roger Corman, Terry Garr, Bill Cobbs, Anoka Mee, James Earl Jones, Donald Sutherland, Shelley Duvall, and of course David Lynch. But they didn't. Yeah, they did not have. Oh wait. Morgan Freeman did give a moving tribute to Gene Hackman, so I don't think he was in the memoriam, but they gave him a tribute. Yeah.
Okay.
So Morgan Freeman said, "This week, our community lost a giant, and I lost a dear friend, Gene Hackman. I had the pleasure of working alongside Gene on 2 films, Unforgiven and Under Suspicion. Gene told me, I don't think about legacy. I just hope people will remember me as someone who did good work. Gene, you'll be remembered for that and so much more. Rest in peace, my friend." So there you go. There's your tribute from Morgan Freeman on Gene Hackman.
And here's my headline. I got an 8-word headline. You'll be proud of me. Anora astounds and amazes at Academy. Let's do it again. I can't read again. Anora astounds and amazes as Academy Awards announced. So there's your 8-word alliteration headline.
That's so crazy. All right. Well, let me do. You want me to do this, right? You want me to go? Yeah.
Yes. And spin the wheel. Spin the wheel for yourself.
Let's spin the wheel for our last segue. All right. One of these has to remind me of a song.
Oh, okay. And of course, the Academy Awards reminded me that it's time to shout out to our writers in the writers' room here, because we are always hiring new writers and look for more new writers. And a lot of our new subscribers are unfamiliar with our writing staff, so I'll go down the list. Our lumberjack consultant is Tim Burr. Our plumbing expert is Lee Key Pipes. Our global warming reporter is Disaster. Our decorating consultant is, of course, Patty O'Furniture. Our politeness advisor is Chuck U. Farley. Our beach correspondent is Sandy Beaver. Manufacturing reporter is Bill Last. And our weather forecaster is Hal Stone. Our pornography expert, of course, you get a laugh at this one, is Phil Lacio and Connie Lingus. Our world wealth correspondent is Ollie Gark. Our anger management consultant is Animosity. Our funeral consultant is Paul Bearer. And our aesthetics correspondent is Bud Tugley. And the guy who takes the last 2 slices is Dick Move. And those are our writers. And this is our day in history. 1671, the Paris Opera first opened with a performance of Pomone by composer Robert Cambert. Way to go, Paris Opera. 1820, Henry Clay helped win passage of the Missouri Compromise, which divided the United States over the issue of slavery for years afterwards. 1847, Scottish-born American inventor and scientist Alexander Graham Bell, whose foremost accomplishments were the invention of the telephone and the refinement of the phonograph, was born in Edinburgh. So, happy birthday to Alexander Graham Bell. 1861, the Russian Emperor Alexander II issued the Emancipation Manifesto, which declared the freeing of the serfs. You know, I realized I didn't send you a video today, so maybe you can grab something from the Oscars. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going to do the Gene Hackman tribute thing. Or maybe just the whole in memoriam. Just all the whole. I'm just going to do the whole in memoriam.
Gene Hackman wasn't really in that, though. Anyway,
yeah, no, the speech at the beginning of it. There's a speech at the beginning by Morgan, and then the in memoriam after.
Okay, so it won't be a surprise now. But hey, American actress Jean Harlow was born today in 1911. She was an original blonde bombshell.
Hell yeah.
1911 is her birthday. 1918, the second of 2 treaties of Brest-Litovsk concluded hostilities between the Central Powers and Soviet Union during World War I. 1923, the first issue of the American weekly magazine Time was published. And everybody, when you get that subscription every week, people would say, "Do you have time?" And you could hold up the magazine and say, "Yeah, I've got it right here." Anyway.
Terrible.
I know. 1931. The Star Spangled Banner was written. I'm sorry, was written. It was during World War II. It was officially for during World War II. The War of 1812. Okay, let's do this again. Now, Star Spangled Banner, written by Francis Scott Key during War of 1812, was officially adopted as a national anthem of the United States by Act of Congress. And their second choice was, "We've got a country, let's have cake." That was their second choice. That's non sequitur. 1934, American bank robber John Dillinger made a daring escape from the prison at Crown Point, Indiana. Way to go, Indiana. Can't keep guys locked up. 1985, the first episode of the American sitcom Moonlighting premiered. The series was a breakthrough for Bruce Willis, who played a wisecracking private investigator, along with Sybil Shepherd, who played Sybil Shepherd-like character. 1991, following a high-speed chase, Los Angeles police officers brutally beat Rodney King, an African-American motorist. Despite a videotape of the beating, the policemen were acquitted. In 1992, causing a large-scale rioting in the city. So yeah, we just get to hit this guy endlessly for no reason and get away with it. 1996, Marguerite Duras died in Paris. She was one of the leading figures of American... What was that noise? One of the leading figures of...
I sent you the link.
Oh. One of the leading figures of the French post-war literary scene, who frequently wrote about obsession and impossible love. So she passed away on this day in 1996. 2012, American conceptual artist Ralph McQuarrie died in Berkeley, California. He contributed to a number of classic movies, notably helping create the appearance of Darth Vader in the Star Wars series. Okay, the appearance of Darth Vader guy. In 2018, English neurologist Roger Bannister died at the age of 88. He was credited with being the first athlete to run a mile in less than 4 minutes. But let's be real, he didn't. He was just the first person to be timed for it by the British, and they made a big deal about it. But people ran 4-minute miles long before that. So, again, they're giving credit to a guy just because they wanted to. Say, hey, the 4-minute mark hasn't been broken with modern timekeeping, so let's do it. That's basically all it was. 2024, Caitlin Clark became the all-time leading scorer in NCAA basketball, surpassing Pete Maravich's record of 3,667 points. She later joined the Indiana Fever WNBA, and her dominating play helped women's basketball surge in popularity. Of course, scoring records, once they invented the three-point line, really are... They should have just re-scrambled the scoring records. Pete Maravich never hit a three-point shot in his career because it didn't exist. Well, he might have in the ABA if he ever played there. I think he played in the ABA, maybe. No, maybe he didn't. I really don't think he did. Anyway, most of his teams in the NBA were bad teams. But Pete Maravich in college played for Louisiana State University, and he was a scoring machine and a passing, probably the best passer to ever play basketball. And either way, I just don't like the fact that three-pointers exist, and it has nothing to do with modern athletes or anything else. It's just like change the rules. I mean, it's like, it's like they say a touchdown is now 10 points if you score from 20 yards out. Well, that's changing the rules, right?
Yeah.
You can't change, right? They do this all the time in football too.
American football, yeah.
They like O.J. Simpson set the rushing record at 2,000 yards in 1973 in a 14-game season, right? And this year they're like, Saquon Barkley's going to set the all-time rushing record. I'm like, no, he's got 3 extra games to do it. I see. Anyway, they changed the rules, they changed the games. The records are kind of silly. Our featured event 2005. Steve Fawcett's circumnavigation of Earth. On this day in 2005, American adventurer Steve Fawcett became the first person to complete a solo nonstop circumnavigation of the globe when he landed in Kansas after more than 67 hours in flight. Our featured biography is Jackie Joyner Kersee, American athlete. She was a pentathlete. She was born March 3rd, 1962, so she's turning 63 today. Happy birthday to Jackie Joyner Kersee. Flojo's sister-in-law. If you remember, Flojo passed away, unfortunately. Floris Griffith Joyner was married to Jackie Joyner's brother. And what day is it? Oh, we got other birthdays today, as I'm moving slowly. More birthdays today. Jameset Jai Tata, Indian industrialist, was born on this day in 1839. George Cantor, German mathematician, born in 1845. We covered Alexander Graham Bell. Jean Harlow. Ira Glass, American radio and television host, born in 1959. And what day is it today? It's a whole bunch of things today. Oh my! It's let's go at the bottom. National Read Across America Day and Dr. Seuss Day, I guess it says in parentheses. And it's normally on March 2nd, so I think Dr. Seuss's birthday must have been yesterday. And it says if it's on the weekend, it's a nearest school day. So yeah, it's National Read Across America Day. All you kids get out a book and just read. It's National Anthem Day because of the adoption of the Star Spangled Banner as the national anthem. National I Want You to Be Happy Day. I want you to be happy because if you're happy, then you're making less people miserable and consequently not making me miserable. So miserable people, it's contagious. So, yep. It's National Cold Cuts Day. The United States cold cuts are your salamis, your bolognas, your sliced ham, your sliced turkey loaf, whatever. Your pickle loaf, your sandwich meats, your deli meats.
Yeah, deli.
National Mulled Wine Day today. Let's all have some mulled wine.
Is a traditional German winter drink, and you get drunk instantly because it's warm.
Yeah, it's warm, and you just it looks like they put a slice of orange.
Eat this up, and then you're like walking around sideways.
like cinnamon stick and a slice of orange.
I don't drink, but if I had mulled wine, I would be an alcoholic for sure.
Right. And it's National Soup It Forward Day. Soup it forward. So make some soup and just share it with everybody. That's what I'm getting.
Some stuff that's going bad in the fridge, chuck in some water, make a broth, and give it to your neighbor.
There's your history. There's your days. There's your nonsense. There's your writer's room. There's your Academy Awards for everything on March 3rd, 2025. On Before Cold Cuts.
Hey. All right. Well, there's one segment in there that reminded me of a song, and that was when you went on your rant about American football, and that was changes. You don't like changes. You don't like that they changed stuff and added also to the NBA, right? They added the 3-pointer line. Why do they gotta change the sports and change the rules? So that's what song you reminded me of. This has been Allison here from the Netherlands, Roger from the West Coast of the United States. As we finish up another Monday, we're waking up for the rest of the week. Tomorrow will be our positive news on Good Tuesday News Day. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel and have those notifications on so you know when we go live and you can get all the good news you need for the rest of the week to remind us that it's not all bad. And I don't know what else to say, so let's go to our Oscar-themed mic drop moment.
Well, this week,
Morgan Freeman
lost a giant, and I lost a
very
dear
sad
friend.
So this is 5 minutes.
Yeah, it is. It's very long. It's the whole memoriam.
Okay.
I had the pleasure of working alongside Gene on 2 films, Unforgiven and Under Suspicion. And like everyone who's ever shared a scene with him, I learned he was a generous performer and a man whose gifts elevated everyone's work. He received 2 Oscars, but more importantly, He won the hearts of film lovers
Aw.
all over the world. Gene always said, I don't think about legacy. I just hope people remember me as someone who tried to do good work. So I think I speak for us all when I say,
A hard
Gene,
worker.
you'll be remembered for that and for so much more. Rest in peace, my friend.
So in memoriam, we've got.
You get the tears.
We're gonna.
We've got a lot of people, sadly,
Maggie.
as you do every year. Maggie Smith. Which actually, my favorite film by her is A Secret Garden. First film I ever saw her in.
Dabney Coleman.
Yeah. Lots of films, lots of actors.
Roger Corman, maker of B movies. Bob Newhart. No Bob Euchre on here. Maybe they do. He was Harry Doyle in all 3 Major League movies.
Chris Christopherson. I think we talked about him.
Oh yeah, playing himself. Christopherson, of course, was in a lot of movies. A Star is Born, for one.
Yeah. The original.
I get my mic straightened out. Stunt performer. Wow.
Wow, that must have been her doing that flip. That's pretty cool.
I think I'm ahead of you. Terry Garr.
You're ahead of me by a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, we covered a lot of these in our show. We covered John Amos, Terry Garr.
Music is just like empty, which is how you feel. You should feel empty from losing all these people. Because it's not just actors, right? It's the people who do all the background writers, directors, not coordinators. Donald Sutherland. of course. Right in the Hunger Games films. Oh, what is this? Oh wow, this is crazy. They made a whole set piece for composers. That's so cool.
Louis Gossett Jr. Yeah,
oh, shit.
Louis Gossett Jr.
I wonder why they decided to do this here. Interesting.
Kelly Duvall.
Oh, really? Oh, I don't remember that. That's a great thing about the memoriam. It reminds you of the people you lost. Yeah, of course. That was a big
just
one
in case
this year.
you forgot.
Huge one this year, for sure.
James Earl Jones.
Another big one. Which is why they go at the end, I think.
Gene Hackman. He does get one at the very end.
Happened so soon.
All right. There's your sadness for today.
On to
Go
the
out there
positive
and-
news for tomorrow.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.